Today is April 29th, 2025. Oh, I get tired and tired of the nonsense of these people. Nonsense. FBI, when are you going to take care of the people that hire these people? As a mother, finding out two of my sons were involved with Dave and his psychotic girlfriend, trying to have me killed for her entertainment, and then have me human trafficked and drugged and framed for his psychotic girlfriend's entertainment. My chest hurts and my stomach. Arrest them. Get their kids away from them. They knew they were the Florida human traffickers doing it to me. And they know that a cult hired him. I don't care how much their dad cried to him that he'd lose everything. And they'd be willing to lose their family to help him and his psychotic girlfriend. And I don't care how much money they offer them. You don't kill somebody. You don't have them harmed. You don't run fraud schemes on them to steal money or get things. You don't help your dad and his new psychotic girlfriend hurt your mother for any amount of money. And he knew, they knew those people were drug beating, raping me, where I was willing to die for them. You put them in jail. Stinking put them in jail. And seriously, then they knew the Florida human traffickers were taping in the bathroom, and they sold kiddie porn of their kids going to the bathroom. And other kids, put them in jail. Get their kids away from them. They actually knew this was going on, and they were part of it. Put them in jail. I was willing to die to save them. And desperate to get information because Dave was threatening to kill everyone. Put them in jail. Put them in jail. My heart's clenched. My stomach. I thought when this is all over, I'd have my Truckasami money. I would have my informant money and get my kids to a safer place. And at least I saved their lives. And I thought during the case, I didn't think I'd make it out. You left me in hell. So you could get information on the drug cartels. And you got the drug cartels. Saved hundreds of lives. Well, you left me in hell while those people were breaking their crimes around me under police surveillance. They were part of those people selling and killing other people here. Put them in jail. They're going to help their father get away with murdering me for his psychotic girlfriend. Have me drugged and framed. For Dave and his psychotic girlfriend. Having men beat and rape me, the cartel. Under drugs, so I just wake up bruised, infected, throwing up, and almost passing out. Poor Dave's entertainment of his new psychotic girlfriend. Put him in jail. Get their kids away from him. They're dangerous. September 18th, 24, 8:30 in the morning, my car's bugged by the police and the FBI for the FBI case. An investigator at my client at the time, next door neighbor, was over there talking to him. Boy, that agent needs to get his facts straight before he puts his name on anything. It was a medication error that made her sick before. Why they wait 15 years. I went over and talked to him. They told me when Strange thought she was following Tim and Katie, he ordered her to be killed in 03. They were to try to have her killed. And if she didn't die, they were to have her destroyed and make sure she got nothing. Nobody was to say or do a thing till Dave said he wanted a divorce, and it took him 15 years to say it. They planned this for 15 years before they did it. And it was over Strange thinking she followed Tim and Katie in 03. That agent needs to get his facts straight. They planned this for 15 years before they did it. 15 years. I would have died in 03. But when Strange pushed Danny to suicide, I took him to the social workers. And they got involved. And threatened it. They would put him in jail themselves. Anything happened to me or Danny. You know, on March 27th, 25, I stayed awake that night and I went through everything, okay? Of how I got sick, how I got well, the money disappearing from the safe, on to calling the FBI, and then what happened afterwards. There was a guy outside where I was working, said I'm glad she stayed awake tonight, and said everything. I told Michelle I never want to see her again. Yes, I'm good with it. I got her to confess she was part of trying to have her murdered when they crushed in her skull or leave her incompetent, and it didn't work. I even got it out of her that the reason why she doesn't know who that doctor is, it's not one of her doctors. They lied. He works for them. I even had got it out of Dave where Dave was telling everybody he was forced to marry her. Nobody in the church forced him. And then it was a girlfriend from before her told him to marry her so he could get a factory job at her dad's factory, and then she could use free insurance. The lady using my insurance was Dave's girlfriend from before me. Our marriage was a scam, and Dave could give her extra money. I even went to that family that was complaining that it offended them that they called her a faker. They said it didn't even concern them. They just lied so people would help out. It didn't offend them at all. It had nothing to do with them. They just lied. This is the case of the dumb people that lied. You know, I've done this statement of how I got sick and how I got well so many times I get tired of repeating myself. You know, years ago, one day I doubled over screaming. Dave rushed me to the hospital. They did an emergency appendectomy. Got about 4 or 5 inch scar on my stomach. The doctor said, well, it didn't look bad, but the way she's screaming, I went ahead and took it out. Couldn't risk it. Well, a few months later, I'm screaming again. They said, have you ever been checked for a cyst? I said, what's that? I had endometriosis. I was full of it. Full. Little fluid-filled cysts growing inside me and bursting. That will double you over. They tried burning treatments, medications. Caused kidney stones. I was getting stents put in and out of my kidneys. Okay. They had to go through my belly button and around my belly button until I have heavy scars. One time they were bursting so bad in my stomach, I was bleeding into my stomach. And they said I would have died if I wouldn't have been in the hospital. It finally got so bad my uterus flipped over. And they had to do a lower hysterectomy. A couple months later, I'm screaming again. This time the endometriosis is in my ovaries. Okay. And I have one as big as a golf ball. They said that golf ball one burst your dad. They cut me side to side and took my ovaries out. From everything that I've been going through with the burning treatment, medication, and surgeries, my gallbladder shut down. They had to take my gallbladder out. And then they had another surgery. They had to take some scar tissue that formed in a ball. One day I started bleeding really heavy, and I went into the emergency room. And one of the kidney stones had kinked the kidney tube. And they had to go 5 inches on my back. and cut out the damaged part of the kidney tube and replace it or repair it. That's when my muscles seized. They clenched. I would be in so much pain, I would vomit, and the muscles would rise up. You could see them under your skin, and blood would run down my legs and my stomach. The blood vessels under the skin would break, and blood would run out of my skin. I got red freckles from it on my stomach and my legs. It's so painful when that happened, it would be ridiculous. I went to a bunch of crackpots after that. They started me on medication. My feet started swelling right away, and I said, is it the medication? No, you have an underlying condition. No, I didn't. They gave me more medication, sent me to other doctors, the swelling went up into my legs and then to my knees, and my knees were popping out of place. I went from 105 pounds to like 275 in 2 years. So I got like 3 arms. I would go into orthopedic doctors. They would take turkey-based syringes of fluid out. They ordered canes and braces because my knees would slide out of place from the massive amount of fluid. One doctor even said it's almost like you need dialysis. Your body cannot keep up with the fluid it's creating. My thyroid, my adrenal gland shut down. I had heart attacks, seizures. They falsely diagnosed me across the board. They told me I had level 2 pituitary tumors, needed my pituitary gland removed. They told me I had epilepsy, MS, lupus, you name it. They threw it at me. Okay? And before I will let them cut part of my brain out, I go to Altman Family Physicians. I'm a swollen mess. Walking with canes and braces. Okay? And I said, what do you think about them removing my pituitary gland? They're like, whoa, we need to have a long talk. What those doctors are really doing. They're known for lying, falsely diagnosing people, ripping them off, making them sick, getting kickbacks from the drug companies, and draining your insurance company like a checking account they could just drain. Sharing it with their associates and friends for no one to do the same thing and wanting to do unnecessary procedures. You don't have brain tumors. You don't have anything wrong with you, but your muscles locked up from all those surgeries. They encouraged Dave and I to sue him for 2 years, turn him over to the state, so they pulled their license. You're not the first one and not the only one I've heard of them doing this to. It's documented fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors. I went to Dr. Eli. He agreed. He said, your muscles seized. They literally locked. He said from having all those surgeries back to back. He said, and the only way to get unlocked muscles to relax is to move them. But you are in so much pain. I got to get you out of enough pain to move. And as you move them, the locked muscles, blood flow will get pushed into them. As blood flow gets pushed into them, they'll relax. Then you can build new muscle tissue. The medication is causing everything else. It's the medication doing it. There's nothing wrong with you, but your muscles locked up. Now, I did find out back then and now, my heart, I was born with a birth defect. The left side of my heart doesn't pull enough blood. They told me eventually I may have to get it fixed. It should have been fixed when I was born. It's a birth defect. With everything they did to me, it's by the grace of God am I still alive. Okay? Especially the cartel. All right. From the case, but even those doctors, I'm surprised. That's where I talked to a doctor. Do you think with them giving me all those wrong meds, is that what caused the heart attacks? And they're like, probably. Yeah, I would have been a millionaire. They would have been in jail. It's documented fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors. Dr. Eli put me on fentanyl patches and muscle relaxers. The first month I lost 30 pounds. The second month, I was following myself around stores and malls. Got in so much pain and ended up in the hospital. By the end of the second month, beginning of the third month, I could drive a car. Seizures and heart attacks stopped. I would go to stores, pull myself around stores, malls, streets, losing weight like crazy. That's why I got like 3 arms. By October, November of 2002, I was a 24. By April, I was of 2003, I was a 16. I dropped that much weight. I was almost well in April. Dr. Eli was getting mad that I wasn't getting well faster, but I had all that swelling. Okay? And I had to learn to walk on numb feet. By May 3rd, 2003, we're all at home. Brian Laney shows up and he tells us how Phil ran a stop sign. There was a church baseball game. A lot of them were running late. He was one of the lead cars, blew right through it into a semi, killed them both. Tyler got ejected, slammed onto the ground, and Phil got ripped into pieces. Okay? Come July of 2003, I finally got well. Okay? And it took me months to get off the fentanyl patches. That was horrible. Okay, November 2003, my sister Linda's married to Tim Strange's son. She was out like a year or two before that, caught him out with Katie. And so when he would leave, she would follow him. And she wouldn't say anything, so we all stayed out of it. She's not going to say anything. It's not our place. Okay? She knows he's cheating, so we're not going to say a word. Okay? She's not going to say anything. We're not saying anything. Okay? She came up to me on a Wednesday night in November of 2003. I was following again. I got caught. I think they thought it was you. I'm sorry. Be careful. I'm like, great. I'm going to get screamed at. No, the pastor planned my death. Planned my death. That Sunday, I had a migraine headache. I stayed home. Danny commented, he was 14. He said, "You're not my mother. I don't have to listen to you." I'm like, "Whoa, you're grounded. You're 14. He screams a bunch of crazy crap, runs out. Josh walks in the room. What on earth is wrong with Danny? I said, "I don't know. Let's go over to his girlfriend's house." We go over to Joy Mendez. That his girlfriend was Heather, her daughter. And Joy was there, and Heather's sister, Brazilia, said, "Well, Danny's been thinking about killing himself." I said, "Kill himself?" He's 14. He said, that minister wants him to help destroy people in the church, and he said he'd rather kill himself. That's my baby. I'm driving up. I took off. I started driving up and down the streets looking for him. See the minister's car at that church. Okay. I told Josh, I said, I don't want him to know Danny's acting out till I find out what on earth is going on. I step through the door. He pins me to my face, to the door. Okay? Put my head to the back of the door. And he said, "I'm pinned by my face. Confess you were never sick." Well, that's ridiculous. I almost died. That was like a 4 or 5 years thing. I said, "I would never do that." He's like, "You're a spoiled little brat. Nobody likes in this church." He said, "You're Satan, and just the sight of you would hurt the church's children. You'll be lucky to see your kid again. Get off my property," and pushes me out, and Josh's mouth is... I got a big well on my face. I'm like, "Take me up to Dad." He didn't always have these big jobs. He was working Pizza Hut part-time. Okay? And I go up there, and I said, "He took Danny." He said, "What?" And I said, "He pushed me to the door, and he's yelling crazy crap." He said, "I'll clock out, and we'll go over and find out what on earth is going on with Danny." I go home. I'm crying. I call my mom. She calls over there and said, "You better be giving Danny back. We'll give him back when you're done." She said, "You can't just start taking people's kids. That's nuts." And she told him she's never going back there again. Dave shows up, and I'm like, "Where's Danny?" Strange said, "You're never to go to church again, and that you're Satan, and just the sight of you would hurt the church's children." I'm not that ugly. And he said, "Don't look at me," screamed like a damn fool, and ran out. Michelle Kagi comes over from next door. Karen, what on earth is going on? And I'm crying. Josh is crying. We go sit on our front porch. And I'm telling her what happened. How that minister has Danny. Jerry walks out, her husband, and said, I'd rip that door off that church, and get my kid back. My mom calls me. I walk off. Dave come tell him, I said, where's Danny? He'll give him back when he's done. You're never to go to church again. Strange said you're Satan. And just that sight of you would hurt the church's children. I got Danny back that night. His hands were shaking like he had cerebral palsy. I'm sorry, Mom. He lied. The next morning, I hear the car start up. It's Danny. He's 14. There used to be a big tree in the middle of Lenox, and he's aiming for it. And I'm running after him, screaming. And his body all of a sudden goes sideways this way. And by the grace of God, it missed everything and rolled to a stop. I get down, and he's over it sideways like this in the car. I push him over, and I get in the car, and I get him home. Josh helps me carry him in. I left him alone for a minute. I had to go to the bathroom, grab something to drink, and I hear the dirt bike start up. Go out, it's Danny. Where the gravel is at the end of Lenox, there used to be a telephone pole, and they always drop gravel around there because of the floods. Well, I go running out, and he's aiming for that telephone pole, and I'm screaming, and he crashes when he looks back. I took my kids and went to my sister's. We get down there, Josh is freaking out. I'm not staying here with these people. I got the keys, and I'll take the car and go home. You'll be here with no car. You either get in that car or I'm going to leave you. You hear me? I'm not staying here with those people. I get in the car and we come back. I take Danny to the crisis center. And he told them that Strange took him that day. Wouldn't let him leave. He starved him all day, screamed at him on the pulpit until he passed out. And that's why he tried to kill himself twice. He told Georgine Bovuso at the Child and Adolescent Center, and Linda at the Child and Adolescent Center, a psychiatrist for the Child and Adolescent Center in Starr County, that Strange took him that day, wouldn't let him leave, starved him all day, screamed at him on the pulpit till he passed out, and he didn't remember half the day. And that's why he was screamed at till he did what he was told. That's why he tried to kill himself twice. It's documented in Starr County. Strange pushed him to suicide. My mother, they started putting nails into her tires and sharp objects till she moved to Illinois and made a police report down there too. And they said it's an occult, and they would have killed her if she wouldn't have left. Georgine Bovuso called Dave and said, I want your participation in that minister taking Danny and assaulting your wife. He said, I want to talk to you without an attorney. She said, well, put it this way. One thing happens to Danny or your wife in the next 20 years, I'll put you in jail myself. They backed way off. My wonderful neighbors and the new people I was working with, by then our insurance had elapsed. I had to go get a full-time job with insurance. My wonderful people I started working with, my neighbors, watched Danny. I wasn't allowed to leave him alone for 6 months. They would babysit him. He got down to 118 pounds, became bulimic, almost had to hospitalize him. He was in counseling 3 times a week, medication. I had to get him a tutor for school. And the wonderful people in my neighborhood and the people I worked with, I said, I don't have a lot of money paying for all this. They said, that's okay. If you got food in your house, as long as we get to eat while we're there, that's all that matters. We'll watch your son for you so you can make money to take care of him. It's out of the kindness of good people. Because an evil cult pushed him to suicide. They waited until the opportune moment. That's where September 18th, 24, an investigator had showed up outside my client on Forest Grove Drive in Akron. 8:30 in the morning. That agent needs to get his facts straight before he puts his name on anything. It was a medication error. It made her sick before. Why'd they wait 15 years? Said, well, when Strange thought she was falling timid, he ordered her to be killed. And if she didn't die, they were to have her destroyed.